Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Dose of Discussion. I'm Dan, and today's episode is going to be a little different. Instead of diving into a heavy topic or breaking down something philosophical, I thought I'd tell a story from a hunting trip that stuck with me, not just because of what happened, but because of what it reminded me about life, patience, and getting away from the noise of the world. If you've ever spent time outdoors, especially hunting or camping, you probably know exactly what I mean when I say that the woods have a way of slowing everything down. Out there, there's no notifications, no constant noise, no distractions. Just you, the environment, and whatever thoughts happen across your mind. So today I'm going to take you through one of those mornings, one that started long before the sun came up. The alarm went off at 3:30 in the morning. Now, if you've ever been hunting, you already know that feeling when the alarm goes off that early. Your first thought is usually something like, why am I doing this again? But at the same time, there's a certain excitement that comes with it. You know that in a few hours you're going to be sitting in the middle of the woods while the world slowly wakes up around you. So I got up, made some coffee, grabbed my gear, and stepped outside. The air had that cold bite to it, the kind that instantly wakes you up. It was late November, right in the middle of deer season, the kind of morning where the ground is covered in frost and every step crunches beneath your boots. I loaded up the truck and started the drive out toward the property I was hunting that day. It was about an hour drive, mostly back roads. No traffic, no lights, just the headlights cutting through the darkness. And honestly, that drive might be one of my favorite parts of the whole trip. There's something about driving through the quiet countryside in the middle of the night that feels peaceful. When I finally pulled up to the spot, it was still completely dark. I shut the truck off, and instantly everything went silent. No engines, no background noise, just the wind moving through the trees. I grabbed my pack, checked my gear, and turned on a small flashlight. Now here's something people don't always realize about hunting. Sometimes the hardest part isn't actually the hunt itself. It's getting to your spot without making a bunch of noise. Walking through the woods in the dark means you're stepping over branches, navigating routes, and trying not to sound like a marching band while you do it. And when the ground is frozen, every step sounds like you're stepping on broken glass. So I took my time moving through the woods until I reached the tree stand I planned to sit in that morning. I climbed up, settled in, and turned my light off. And then it was just waiting. There's a moment right before sunrise that's hard to explain unless you've experienced it. The woods are still dark, but the sky starts to lighten just a little. You begin to hear birds waking up. Squirrels start moving through the trees. The entire forest slowly comes to life. And sitting there in that moment, you realize something. Nature has its own rhythm. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It just moves forward one moment at a time. And honestly, I think a lot of us could learn something from that. Because in our everyday lives, we're constantly rushing, always moving from one thing to the next. But out there in the woods, none of that matters. You're forced to slow down. You're forced to be patient. About an hour after sunrise, I heard something. At first, it was just a faint rustling in the leaves. Now, if you spend any time in the woods, you know that could be anything. A squirrel, a raccoon, or maybe something bigger. So I stayed still and listened. A few seconds later, I saw movement through the trees, branches shifting, leaves moving. Then I caught a glimpse of something brown moving between the trunks. And that's when the adrenaline kicks in. Your heart starts beating faster. Your focus sharpens. Every little movement suddenly feels amplified. Slowly, a deer stepped out from behind the trees. Now, here's the thing about moments like that. They never happen exactly the way you imagine. The deer didn't just walk out and stand perfectly still. Instead, it kept moving slowly through the brush, stopping for a second, then taking another step. So I waited and waited. Finally, the deer stepped into a small clearing and paused. Just for a moment, I took a slow breath, steadied myself, and took the shot. The sound echoed through the woods, and then everything went quiet again. That kind of silence that only happens after something big. I sat there for a few minutes, replaying the moment in my mind, making sure everything felt right before climbing down and tracking. Eventually, I followed the trail and found the deer not far from where the shot had been taken. And standing there, I felt that mix of emotions that hunters know well: gratitude, respect, and appreciation for the experience. What I think people sometimes misunderstand about hunting is that it's not just about the harvest. It's about the connection to the outdoors. It's about learning patience. It's about stepping away from the chaos of everyday life. That morning reminded me how important it is to slow down sometimes, to step away from the noise, to spend time in places where things move a little differently. Because when you do that, you start noticing things you normally overlook. The sound of the wind through trees, the way sunlight filters through the forest, the simple feeling of being present in the moment. And honestly, I think we all need more of that. So if you ever get the chance to spend time outdoors, whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, or just sitting somewhere quiet, take it. You might be surprised what it teaches you. Thanks for listening to this episode of Daily Dose of Discussion. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to follow along for more episodes where we talk about life, experiences, and everything in between. I'll see you in the next one.